Hi guys, Christina here with Lightbody Inc. and LightbodyTherapeutics.com. I'm coming at you live today to talk about tinnitus, what to do when you have distracting or even painful buzzing and ringing or chirping in your inner ears. And you might be surprised by what I have to tell you about that. So this is pretty advanced topic that I'm going to go into. So just know that we're skipping over the beginning part. I'm not going to explain a lot about the energetic anatomy. I'm just going to talk about pulses. So when we have ringing in the ear, like it's usually like a high pitched zzz, or like chirping bug sounds. Maybe it's crickets when there aren't any, or maybe it's like real intense maybe sounds that you would have in the woods and stuff like this, but it's like inside your ears, it feels like, and it's creating like a tension in the jaw. Or sometimes I've known people that it would give them migraines, or the teeth grinding would start to happen, or they can't sleep. Like all kinds of interesting things happen when these really sharp when these really sharp frequencies are coming in such a way that's creating tightness and intensity. Okay. So, and because of that, we're like, God, what's going on? Like, what can I do? And maybe you'll meditate, or maybe you'll go for a jog, or maybe you'll do whatever, whatever tool you use to get back to yourself, and it's still there no matter what. Or maybe it waxes and wanes like this. Okay, so those kinds of sounds are very, very common as you wake up to your multidimensional levels. We have multidimensional ears that come online, like just behind our actual physical ears. And as those ears come online, we will very often have these intense frequencies bounce up against these ears. And the problem is that we want to perceive them with the mental field. We want to perceive these sounds, these intense frequencies, in a way where we understand it, or in a way where we are doing something with it. Okay, like this, like who we think we are is doing something. Okay. So in order for me to explain the technique that I use that instantaneously works, it's so powerful, I have to first explain a little bit more about the pulses of the body. This hyperdimensional biosuit is there are systems inside of systems inside of systems. And I've talked about this before, and I often use Alex Gray's Hall of Mirrors as a great example, because at the very base level of this hyperdimensional biosuit, it's atoms and molecules. And as we know, atoms and molecules, you have a neutron and a proton zinging around, and that's creating your atom, and that gets with another atom, and then boom, you get this zinging vibration going on that is maybe a water molecule, or maybe a calcium molecule, or okay, and these molecules will all come together, and they'll come together in such a way where you'll have a cell, and that cell has its movement, it has its job that it does as a cell. And there's movement this way, but then there's also energetic movement happening, because there's mitochondria inside the cells creating ATP, and okay, like this. So there's a whole nother system that's the cell. Okay, bear with me, we're tuning into these frequencies, and it'll be easier if we do it this way. Rather than with the mind. Okay, so then we have these cells that come together and create tissues, and these tissues have a way that they're used to moving. Okay, they have their motion, and those tissues are innervated by the nervous system, and so on and so forth. So there's another layer of rhythm, and then these tissues come together to create organs, and these organs have yet another rhythm. So there's the actual physical movement rhythm that they have, but then there's also the synaptic pattern rhythm that they have, the nervous system triggering the movement of the organ. So it's like the inner movement informs the outer movement of each of all these nesting doll systems. And the hyperdimensional biosuit is many, 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 many systems nestled inside of each other. So you have your bones that are wrapped up in fascia, and then you have your muscles and tendons, and also wrapped up in fascia, you have all of your organs, all of your blood vessels. So you have your pulmonary system, you have your nervous system, you have your lymphatic system, okay? You have your endocrine system. So there's all these very dynamic systems inside of systems nestled together. Okay, so when you get all those different pulses coming together, they start to create their own kind of pulse. Okay, And this is, you know, this is so with on many, many layers of this body. So when you have all the pulses coming together, that might create another pulse that's like out here, and this might reveal itself as maybe like aura colors or aura frequencies like this, okay? So I promise I'm tying it into the buzzing in the ear. So this hyperdimensional biosuit is designed to be an energy generator, but it's also designed to digest energy, to digest frequencies, to metabolize, okay? And many of us would, you know, many multidimensional beings play with what this is all about, the digestion of energy. Some people digest foods, others, you know, the whole spectrum of different kinds of food, but others decide that they want to digest something else. Maybe it's more of like prana or love or song or dance, you know, some kind of yumminess that they are getting soul food or emotional food or mental food out of, like this, okay? So all of these different ways of digesting frequencies are at our access, and they all have a certain flavor, these rhythms. So you have the wind family of rhythms, okay? And mental body would be considered wind in my mind. You have the metal family has rhythms, okay? The wood family has rhythms. These are all elements of the body, okay? And then your water has rhythms like this, okay? So when these ringings are coming into the ear, okay, we are trying to digest these frequencies with our wind rhythms. And those wind rhythms very oftentimes, not all the time, but very oftentimes are not harmonic with the multidimensional frequencies that are coming through. The ones that are coming through, it could be language, alien languages, but it could, you know, there's lots of other richness in the stellar networks besides just, you know, races of beings. There's star beings, there's galactic beings, there's cosmic beings, okay? So all those rhythms are inside the stellar networks that we are starting to hear in our multidimensional ears. That's coming across as tinnitus, okay? Now, information on that level, on a stellar network level, is not just information that the mind can just like download and boom, you know it. It's not like the Matrix, you know, or you download how to fly a helicopter and boom, all of a sudden you know it, right? No, that's not how it works. That's not really how it works. The stellar networks come in, you know, and you're tuning into them with the different subconscious layering inside of the systems of your body. And if you keep something in the wind frequency family trying to digest something, you're actually going to slow those frequencies down or actually distort them completely by that lens that it's not meant for. And then you'll end up, you know, either creating more tension inside the head, inside the jaw, inside, you know, the sphenoid, the whole, you know, intuitive complex here with the pineal pituitary and hypothalamus. You have all this, so when this crunches and tightens, it's like that's where the pain starts to happen, and that cascades through the whole rest of the systems of the body. So what I want to suggest that you guys do instead, play with this, see how it is start playing with the other awarenesses of the pulses of your body, okay? So the first one would be breath. That's a very easy rhythm pulse to tune into. And then when you settle into the breath, you can tune into the pulse of the heart and feel that pulsing through, okay? And if you can quickly slow down enough, you slow down your awareness enough, you can actually dive right into below the navel, the sacral energy center, and just feel that with your hand, the circling of that energy center. And just tune in to what that sacral pulse is like. With that sacral chakra pulse, or maybe just that whole part of your biosuit has a pulse that you can sense, okay? That's a pulse. And then you can go into the solar plexus and feel that pulse, okay? And it's going to be likely a different rhythm than the sacral. All right, so you get the idea about tuning into pulses now. So now that you've tuned into the pulse of these different parts of your body, now you can take the attunement of that pulse that's in your awareness and hold this buzzing sound in your awareness at the same time. You have these two pulses in your awareness at the same time, and then you hook them up. And as they get hooked up like this, what happens is that now that pulse, say the frequencies of fire within your body are now digesting and harmonizing with those frequencies coming in through your multidimensional ears. Okay. Yes, this is a fun thing to do. So and now as soon as I do that, I notice all of a sudden the buzzing, the zinging, and all those different sounds, they're at an arm's length away. They're not in my head anymore. They feel very distant, and they absolutely feel completely optional to engage with, which is a cool feeling, which is good. That I would be like, okay, that's cool. I'll leave it like that. But if I feel intuitively drawn to connect other pulses, other rhythms of my body into these frequencies coming in, I'll do that. I'll use the sacral pulses, or I'll use the root pulses, okay, or the heart pulses. It all depends on, you know, what your intuitive knowing tells you to do. But I do encourage you to play with this. You'd be surprised how instantaneous it works. Now, there's a lot of insectoid frequencies that come in on these stellar networks. They sound like bugs chirping and stuff like this, and those can get really, really intense. And the lens that I like to harmonize with those when they come in is the sacral lens. So that's a little bit lower in the body than the fire lens, the solar. Okay, just one little tidbit about that. Okay, kiddos, thank you so much for listening. I hope this is helpful. Please comment below. Let me know if this technique worked for you, or perhaps if you have another kind of technique that you really like to use when digesting multi-dimensional frequencies coming in through the ears. I'm Christina with Lightbody Therapeutics and lightbodyinc.com, and I'll see you next time. Bye.